Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches, where we connect compassion with needs as we inspire growth with dignity. You'll find us in special places throughout the community. For those who remain hungry, we provide meals. For those who are challenged, we build wheelchair ramps. We comfort those who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Good morning. I'm Jeff Kellam, your host today on Encounter. Coming out the door this past week with a little bit milder weather I saw a crocus coming up in a little garden by the front sidewalk, a sure sign of spring. The other one that's a sign of spring is just the thought that gardening is not too far away. And then I get this song in my head, inch by inch and row by row, gonna make my garden grow. That's the first time I've ever sung on TV. Well, today we're going to be talking about VINES, an organization that is doing community gardening, and a concert that's coming up this coming Saturday night at the United Presbyterian Church in downtown Binghamton. And my two guests are going to be talking about both the VINES project and the community gardens, as well as the concert. And I was going to do this concert, but I had no perceivable talents. And so we have a folk singer who's going to be performing at the VINES Benefit Concert. There it is, LaCroix. It's Saturday, March 12th at 7 o'clock at the United Presbyterian Church on Shenango Street in Binghamton. So my guests today are Natalie Hughes, and your title is one of these long, so pardon me while I check. The Community Garden and Youth Program Manager.
Yes, that's correct.
And VINES stands for Volunteers Improving Neighborhood Environments.
Exactly, yeah.
Got that?
Thank you.
And Dana, you are from Canada.
I'm originally from Canada, yes.
Yes. And now living in Cooperstown area?
No, I actually relocated to Binghamton recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm local now.
Very good.
Yeah.
So good to have you both with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Let's begin talking about the VINES community gardens. I just love the concept of gardens that are kind of rescuing these vacant places in the city, and I think we've been to one when we were doing one of our Broome County Council of Churches TV programs. We went to Sunflower Garden.
Sure, yeah. Yep, on Murray Street.
Yes,
yep.
yes.
Yep, sure.
And we got some pictures of it.
One of our smaller ones,
yes,
yeah.
Right. So tell me about the VINES project.
Sure, I think I should, start from the beginning.
Sure.
Back in 2007 when we first started, the organization is really grassroots. Sometimes people hear about community gardens and urban agriculture, which is now a nationwide movement, and think that this is something that's, continuous through all of these cities, but each city, especially New York City, Detroit, and areas facing issues with blight and issues with hunger, are seeing these unique urban agriculture and community garden organizations. And so VINES is one of those, but very much represents what's going on locally. So VINES was started in Binghamton by community members and has grown exponentially. It really started with one community garden, and residents were getting involved in growing food for themselves and their families, and it continued to grow, and now we have a network of 8 gardens in Binghamton, 5 affiliate gardens, which are gardens that are loosely connected with VINES, such as school gardens, gardens at churches, and other small community farms, as well as a large urban farm.
And they grow affiliate vegetables, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and that's good to point out. Yeah, all of our sites we grow vegetables.
Yeah.
And it's really great. I mean, it's a real great way to get folks from the neighborhoods out using a blighted lot in a really positive way, and then walking away, not only making new connections in their community, but leaving with food.
Yeah.
Real edible food, and saving money on their grocery bills.
Oh, there's so many levels on which this is a wonderful idea. I mean, as I said, you're kind of taking a vacant lot and making it into something that's growing and beautiful, and then it's bringing the community together so that young and old are working to see literally seeds growing into fruition.
Absolutely.
And then the very fact that if you're feeding the hungry with good food, And then if there's something left over, it gets donated.
Exactly.
So, great.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to bring up too. We've been working very closely with Chow to increase the amount of fresh foods in their warehouse, and so through various agreements with them, and them helping us out with transportation and some available space at the Chow farm, we've been donating about 20% of everything that's grown on our urban farm in downtown Binghamton. To the Chow Pantry Network.
Now, how did you get involved? I mean, did you as a little girl, you're thinking, I think when I grow up, I'd like to grow gardens in the city.
Yeah, no, I never thought that I would be an urban farmer, that's for sure. But I do have a background in environmental science. I'm a transplant from Long Island. Actually, don't let that ruin my credibility. And no, when I was a student at Binghamton University, I got involved with Vines as an intern, and I've stuck around in the area ever since. Wonderful. And have worked in various different programs with Vines, anywhere from distributing food to low-income families, to growing the food, to working with volunteers. And I find myself here now as program manager.
Wonderful. And Dana, you are also involved with Vines. I mean, what brought you into the Vines
I met Natalie and got to know about Vines through the Lee Barta Center. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Nope.
It's an organization that I believe is funded by the United Way, but they work with the Roosevelt Elementary School on the north side. And I was put in touch with them through a friend. I was new in the city and just getting to know, what was going on in town. And there are a lot of disadvantaged people in this city, there's no doubt about it.
Sure.
And so I had a friend, I was talking with a friend about how if you could just get to the root of the problems from when kids are young and try to change their lives when they're at a very impressionable state, So someone put me on to the Lee Barta Center and the program that they have at the Roosevelt Elementary School. So I started volunteering there just because I wanted to sort of get involved and find out what they were doing, and that led me to a meeting where Natalie was present and I got to know about Vines, and it's just this amazing organization of local people doing great stuff.
Have you done gardening yourself before?
Is this
new to you?
I am a city girl, born and bred,
Yeah.
from Toronto. And the first time I ever got my hands in the dirt, honestly, was when I was in my 30s. We had bought this beautiful piece of land, and I thought, I am going to, little house on the prairie,
Sure.
grow all my own food. Oh my, I found out it was a whole lot of work. But it was fabulous. I mean, I think I spent, this is no exaggeration, a whole week every day in the dirt just pulling the rocks.
Yes.
Yes. And I wasn't sure how, they said get rid of the rocks, and I'm like, I'm,
How big a rock?
basically.
Yeah, right, sure.
So anyway, that was I first got interested in gardening and started to understand how wonderful it is in so many different ways. For your soul, for your body, for your head, and that was. Not all that long ago, 10 years ago.
Sure.
And since then, we moved to a small town in upstate New York and just started to get really interested in the local foods movement. So.
And the local foods movement, it's a wonderful connection now to talk about the fact that young people, if we start talking about kids who are a part of this program, because there are some components of youth and children, they're learning about something that's not just coming in a can or a frozen food thing. They're learning that this is something that began as a root and is now healthy food. What kind of educational component is there in the program?
Sure. So we work with youth of all ages, anywhere from the 14 teenagers that we employ to work on our urban farm every summer and participate in a workforce training program. So not only farm work, but nutrition trainings and workforce development training, financial management. But we also work with children at a very young age and to educate about how your food is grown, why it's important to eat healthy foods, and how it can be fun. Because we're seeing that parents are responding to what the kids want to eat, and when a kid comes home and says, hey mom, could you buy this from the grocery store, they're much more likely to try and purchase that vegetable. And so it's hard because we've all, not just youth, we've all become really disconnected with our food and where it comes from. And so when you grow a food and when you grow something and you start it from a seed and you watch it grow, you're much more likely to eat it as a young person, and instead of saying, ew, no, I don't like this, and pick that healthier option, because you have that sense of meaning and understanding that kids think is really cool. They do. It's gross, it's cool, and it's fun to them. Gardening, it's true, right? They're like, ew, but they love it. They're like, ew, a worm, but then they pick it up and then they want to do a dance and a song about a worm. And there's just so much potential to weave nutrition and gardening throughout math, science, art, recreation, that it's really been taking off in the schools. And that's why this relationship with Dana's benefit concert, coming and raising funds for Vines youth programming, all came together, because
makes a lot of
there
sense.
is such a creative sort of element in gardening that children really enjoy. So we're really excited that she was willing to come and put together an event that can invite folks from the community and folks from the United Presbyterian Church that's helping sponsor the event, where our office is located. And
your Vines office is located there.
Our Vines office is located in the United Presbyterian Church, and they've been really kind to us. They do a lot of programming for the community, a soup kitchen, or what they now call a community meal. And so as part of our really affordable rent, we built a garden out front. We've been working with them to start a composting program so that they'll be composting the kitchen scraps from the community meal, and then growing food out front in their front lawn, believe it or not. And every year, they say, can we expand the garden a little more? And then all that food goes back into that soup kitchen and goes to the folks that are eating their meal there.
One of the things I really like about that church is that they're very involved in the community, and I think we're looking at trying to do some volunteer work at the garden this summer as well. They're involved with Chow, they're involved with Vines. I think they have a BOCES program too. So it's nice that they're so engaged, which is one of the reasons we wanted to do the concert at that church.
I want to talk more about the concert, what we can expect there, but first let's go to that documentary that Vines put together. We'll hear the voices of some of the people who are raising the vegetables and having great fun together, building community. So we'll take a look, listen at that, and then we'll be back.
We engage them in the process of producing food, distributing food, learning about food, learning about the broader food system, and all the issues that are related to why a project like this, a giant garden in the middle of a city like Binghamton, makes sense.
Collard greens.
Why would you want to do this?
Carrots. Carrots pretty good.
So we're trying to get that message across, and at the same time, really get into the particulars of how to plant things, what's a weed, what's not.
These are beets.
How do you know when it's ready to be picked?
When it gets large.
The Summer Youth Program is a 6-week summer program designed for teenagers ages 15 to 18. This year, we had a great group dynamic. Not everyone knew each other going into the program, but it was like the first week they were all best friends.
Whole beans?
We did a field trip to a rural farm because we wanted them to we talked a little bit about the difference between, what makes this an urban farm, besides just the location, how that affects what you grow and how you grow things.
Something like...
We did some nutrition education, so we did a cooking demonstration with Cornell Cooperative Extension, and we really try to, engage other organizations too. It's kind of having someone, a professional in that field, talk about it as opposed to just us giving them all the information.
This is the kind of work that gets food to the table. It's difficult work, it's outdoor work, it's work in all conditions, and that's what it takes,
But on top of the physical labor aspect, they also participate in interviewing demonstrations at Brintoga Workforce. I guess our overall goal with the youth program is to engage youth in the urban farm. It's our way of, getting youth employed and getting them involved in something that's happening in their community. And I think every year more and more we are more successful with that. And the youth program helps us really develop that relationship over time.
Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Everyone pretend they're a beet.
A what?
A beet.
Or like a beet?
Now we're all carrots.
It's the same thing.
All right, now we're all potatoes.
Still on the ground.
Asparagus.
What? What is that?
Onions.
So good. It's so well done. So well done. Our guests today are Natalie Hughes, who is the Community Garden and Youth Program Manager for VINES. What a great look at what the program is, just all summed up. And Dana LaCroix, who is the singer-songwriter, who is going to be doing a benefit concert to raise funds for the VINES program. Let's talk about the concert, and let's talk about your gifts.
Concert's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
Really excited about it.
Tell me about it.
Well, I'm going to be there with a wonderful piano player from Canada named Dave Restivo. He's like 3-time national award winner. Fabulous, fabulous player. I've worked with him. I worked with him when I was, living in Toronto years ago, so I know him for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, my music's a little bit different from his. He's very much a jazz player. I'm a singer-songwriter. As you mentioned, I play folk music, but it's sort of roots, blues, and rock, too. It's kind of a mixture.
Sure.
So it's going to be an interesting potpourri of styles, but I think it's a nice cohesive group. We've got Jacob Rospel on the drums, holding it all together, and we're going to have some special guests too, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And it'll be at the United Presbyterian Church this coming Saturday night,
Saturday,
March 12th.
March 12th, at 7 p.m.
7 o'clock. And so the musical styles will vary. You've mentioned, folk, some blues, and some